In this segment of Spotlight on Seniors, we're going back over 60 years to acknowledge not only the first cardiac pacemakers, but important strides since then, culminating in today's establishment of the first pacemaker recycling world headquarters at World Medical Relief Southfield headquarters.
Proud to be here today to welcome you all to the opening ceremony and dedication of the Sheldon and Marion Davis Pacemaker Recycling World Headquarters. And this is just, I can't describe what the feeling is for me personally. You've heard of recycling and repurposing, going green, reducing your carbon footprint, and some think maybe these are just fads or buzzwords for today. But I can tell you that by this program, we're going to demonstrate that this is a sustainable program and it's going to do all those things for many, many years to come.
Before we prepared this program, Director Javara said, make it shorter. I can talk for 3 hours here, especially with this kind of project we have. Of course, first I would like to introduce our guest, the Mayor. Oh, Mayor Cybers. Hi, he's right there. Mayor Cybers. And of course, the Congressman Brandon Lawrence. They're here today. And we have the Consul General of the Republic of the Philippines, Dr. Jose, and of course the loving wife, Dr. Estela Evangelista. All the board members of World Medical Relief are all here, with of course the chairman of Mike Krause and the wife. And how many board members we have here? Mr. Frank Rafansky, Rob Wright, of course Dr. Regal, Nidal Garmo, Mike Wedun, Bruce Carr, and Dr. Mack. Wow. Thank you for your presence. And of course the staff and the volunteers and the supporters of World Medical Relief. Today we are going to witness a story of miracle of mercy. It is a miracle. The people behind this miracle are here with us today. And this memorable day, like Dr. Regal, Dr. Crawford, and all the unsung heroes of this amazing project. It's been 9 years. And I still recall that I was still young when I attended the meeting a long time ago, and they were all talking about this 9 years ago. 9 years ago. And of course, all the members of the My Heart, Your Heart, such as, of course, Eric Purell is there. I could not believe that it's happening. And this is it. Sometimes you're only dreaming like, I hope one day, that one day, this is the one day. And I know the lives of the people are in their hands. And I know that with all the prayers we have, with all the people who are praying outside this country, you're being heard. They're being heard, and you are the answer to those prayers. I came to know the real meaning of love and charity through World Medical Relief. That love is meaningless without charity. And charity is not meaningful without love. Love and charity goes together, as always. This project, My Heart, Your Heart, and the unveiling of the Sheldon and Marion Davis is all about love and charity. And the reason we are all here this morning, because we believe in charity there is love, and love is charity. Once again, I would like to welcome everyone. I'm not the keynote. Dr. Regal and Dr. Cowper will do that. And welcoming you to World Medical Relief and the My Heart, Your Heart. Thank you for all your support. God bless you all.
Although the first cardiac pacemaker was invented in 1941, it wasn't until 1958 that the first implantable cardiac pacemaker was developed.
For many years, I have known about the World Medical Relief, but they weren't in Southfield, so I wasn't all that familiar with this organization. And obviously, after they moved here, I came down, and honestly, I was absolutely blown away at what takes place here. I knew the goodwill, and it just Well, for instance, I've never seen so many pacemakers. Actually, I have to say I've never seen a pacemaker, but this whole room of pacemakers, it was just extraordinary. And then going through the back and the warehouse and all of the wonderful things. I'm very big on recycling, finding adaptive reuse for buildings, and we can't keep throwing everything away. And so here's an organization that puts things that have been used once, but are still usable and can be put to good use. So I'm very, very supportive of this organization. I am extremely proud that it is here in Southfield. We're very glad to be the home city. I do want to thank and acknowledge Sheldon and Marion Davis for your support of this work and the center. And I've been educated, schooled on all of the things that happen here, years ago I thought you just did stuff overseas. I really didn't realize the extent of which you help people in the Detroit metro area and beyond. So everything from the affordable prescription program, the medical supply service, the durable medical equipment program, and then the homeless blanket relief program. These are all admirable efforts, and I congratulate all of you and the volunteers, the board that puts in these countless hours to make this effort possible. So I'm very glad to be here today to welcome all of you to the great city of Southfield and congratulate this expansion of the program and all that you do. Thank you so much.
To point out the disparity between high and low income countries in terms of pacemaker and defibrillator availability, each year more than 1 million individuals worldwide die due to a lack of access to pacemakers and defibrillators. Meanwhile, almost 90% of individuals with pacemakers would donate their devices to others in need if given the chance. This effort required partnerships with Implant Recycling, My Heart, Your Heart, and a host of medical, legal, and ethical partnerships. Nearly 30,000 pacemakers have been collected from around the country.
Today indeed is a historic day. We are celebrating a landmark achievement, the establishment of First Institutional Pacemaker Recycling Center. The center is the result of shared vision of Dr. Kim Eagle and Mr. Sheldon Davis. It is the fruit of labor of countless volunteers. It is a paragon of the best in humanity, compassion and charity. It is what happens when people of goodwill come together to build something greater than themselves. Pacing is widely available in the United States and other high-income countries. We take it for granted that when a patient is lightheaded or passes out and is diagnosed with complete heart block, he or she will walk out of the hospital with a pacemaker and will be able to maintain the level of activity as before pacemaker implantation. That is not the case in most of the world. Today, 6 decades after pacemaker introduction into clinical medicine, as many as 1 million people still die each year due to a profoundly slow heart rate, one that is too slow that it cannot sustain life. People die on every continent every day because pacemaker therapy is not available. Nowhere is the access to pacemakers as scarce as in Africa. 1/3 of African countries do not have a single hospital which can implant a pacemaker. One of those countries is Sierra Leone, a country of almost 8 million people. This February, our team, working together with Pace for Life a UK sister charity of My Heart Your Heart, traveled to Sierra Leone to perform the first pacemaker implantation ever in that nation's history. We implanted 8 pacemakers within a week's stay. We helped build the first and only pacemaker implantation center there. Since our return, the country's only cardiologist has implanted several additional refurbished pacemakers on his own. All patients did well and are doing well. None of this would have been possible without the generosity of Marion and Davis Sheldon, and Sheldon Davis, or the vision of Dr. Kim Eagle. This vision is much broader than merely supplying pacemakers to the needy today. We are building the edifice of knowledge and experience to be shared with all who wish to follow us in our footsteps. We are creating the framework for large-scale pacemaker reuse. We began this process by surveying funeral home directors and learning of their strong support for the concept. We surveyed patients in our pacemaker clinic at the University of Michigan to find out how they felt about donating their pacemakers after death. Over 85% of folks thought they wanted to do that. They wanted to give a new chance for life to another human being. We also found that the vast majority of Heart Rhythm Society specialists felt the practice of pacemaker reuse should be embraced. We examined the legal and regulatory environment. Pacemakers, as some of you know, are approved for single-use devices, as single-use devices. We ask ourselves the question, is it ethical for us to offer indigent patients in poor countries pacemakers which we are not allowed to reimplant in the United States? Everything about this process has been systematic, pragmatic, and transparent. Everything we did has been challenged. Everything we did has withstood the peer review process. Most of all, we sought partnerships. World Medical Relief is our most essential and precious partner. Thanks to the generosity and the vision of Dr. Sampson and the World Medical Relief Board of Directors, we were offered this beautiful and substantial space, which we celebrate today. My colleague and dear friend, Dr. Tamir Bahman, who co-founded Project My Heart Your Heart with Dr. Eagle, also found Mr. Brad Wasserman and the company called Implant Recycling, then of Detroit, now of Sterling Heights. We have benefited from Implant Recycling tremendously, as they have embraced our work, brought us tens of thousands of pacemakers to evaluate, and contributed financially. Much of our effort was focused on developing protocols for proper cleaning, electrical testing, and sterilization of pacemakers. This effort led to My Heart Your Heart obtaining a United States Food and Drug Administration approval for pacemaker export. This result would not have been possible without Mr. Craig Allmendinger and his company, NE Scientific, which is based in Connecticut, and which cleans and sterilizes our pacemakers free of charge. This achievement would not have been possible without Mr. Noah Klugman, who at the time was a graduate student at the University of Michigan in the Department of Electrical Engineering and Computer Science, and who has built the electrical testing equipment which we use today. We have now an approval of the University of Michigan Ethics Board to perform the definitive trial to provide the proof of the highest quality that using pacemakers is safe and effective. The study will start this summer in several countries spanning South America, Africa, and Asia. I know that the clinical study will demonstrate what we already know is true, that reusing pacemakers should be done to save lives of those who cannot access this therapy in low-income countries. While pacemaker recycling has been carried out on a small scale for many years by individuals, it is My Heart Your Heart which is creating the standard for pacemaker reprocessing and reuse. With everything we do, with each step we take, we are purposefully leaving a trail of literature behind. This way, the knowledge and experience of how to recycle pacemakers will outlive this space. The knowledge and experience will outlive all of us. it will be there for future generations. Despite the real risk of omitting someone who has helped a lot, in addition to the individuals I acknowledged already, I feel I must mention by name additional key individuals without whose generosity of heart, steadfastness, dedication, and voluntarism we would not be here today. I want to thank Ms. Eva Klein Rogers and Mr. Bruce Rogers, Mr. Eric Pearl and Ms. Patsy Bringer, all from the Michigan Clinical Outcomes Research and Reporting Program. I wish to thank Mr. Kevin Weatherwax from the Michigan Institute for Clinical and Health Research. So much has been done by United to Heal and their technical team, represented here today by Ms. Allison Whitsett and Jed Bucky. Cannot mention all the volunteers by name, too many of them. Finally, I wish to acknowledge pacemaker nurses from the University of Michigan Cardiovascular Center. Mr. Dan Bohinski, Ms. Ann Donato, Ms. Sharon Goodman, Ms. Ashley McFarland, Ms. Helen McFarland, Ms. Michelle Nichols, Mr. Ross Sample, and Ms. Pat Sovich. Each and every one of you made it possible for us to get to this point. You all have contributed to today's success. With you and thanks to you, this program will endure. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Crawford.
Dr. Crawford's team stands on the shoulders of Irene M. Oberlin, a Detroit housewife who in 1953 embarked on a remarkable mission to collect food, baby clothing, cribs, and medicines to ship overseas. Her original goal to help one small Korean boy turned into the much larger mission we know as World Medical Relief, collecting and distributing recycled medical and dental equipment, medical supplies, and medicines to aid thousands of people all around the globe.
Today we celebrate a very important moment, the opening of the Sheldon and Marion Davis Pacemaker Recycling Center at World Medical. I think it's a moment for us to look back, consider how far we've come, and of course to look forward. As I look back, I can't help reflect on the vision of a single woman, Irene Oberlin, who in 1953 made a fundamental decision to help a number of poor Korean orphans that she saw on a TV show. Consider the power of that one woman who would overcome remarkable odds, cajole friends, neighbors, politicians, businesses toward a movement that would become this organization, World Medical Relief. In that moment, she made a lifetime decision. And as a result, literally tens of thousands of lives have been impacted for the generosity of spirit of one woman and a fire in her heart that she spread to so many, including you and me. We can also look back, I think, to a moment a few years ago when a man brought his wife's previously used pacemaker to one of our cardiology fellows and said, you know, I would like you to find a person somewhere in the world who could use this pacemaker and otherwise can't afford it. My heart, your heart was spawned in a single moment by a single man honoring his wife. Now, World Medical had been toying with this for a while. There were a number of physicians working with the board and others taking pacemakers back to their native lands, and at a small scale, saving lives right and left. And we honor those people. So this was not my idea, it wasn't Tom's idea. This has been going on. But the notion today is we could do a much grander job of saving human life if we really push this hard. The notion that if we carefully study proper acquisition, analysis, refurbishment, sterilization, repackaging, and delivery, we could make pacemaker recycling not just a one-off with a few dozen devices in a suitcase, but maybe a global reality something in the light of the world that would be embraced by the world. This certainly could achieve far more benefit for beneficiaries around the world. It's a little bit like pre-certified, right? Now, anytime you buy a new car, it's fine. If you buy a used car, you want it to be pre-certified. We have the first pre-certified pacemaker place in the world. So over the last 9 years, we've been on an amazing journey. You remember that African proverb that says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with others. Well, as Tom mentioned, with others we have been on this journey for a while. Of course, we worked with numerous members of this organization and their leadership and their volunteers. Tamir Bauman was the fellow who worked with the first patient who had this idea. And then Tom, who you heard from already, is an amazing leader. He is a spiritual force behind My Heart, Your Heart. Under Tom's leadership with implant recycling, I think we've received how many devices? 30,000? These just come in. It's an idea so compelling that devices just show up on my desk every week. It's amazing. We have this international partnership with the Pan-African Cardiac Society, where physicians in Africa can go to South Africa to train, and they can go back and start a pacemaker program in their country. Our team, as he mentioned, has worked with the FDA to obtain approval to export used devices. This was no small feat. And you might have heard negativity about the FDA and some of the barriers that they put out. Ironically, in this case, they've helped us a lot. They've challenged us to do this the right way. And as a consequence, it will stand the test of time, I'm sure. Obviously, World Medical has been amazing to us, and they've created open arms and a space where we could have a place to work. And we've worked with doctors, hospital staff, nurses in Haiti, the Philippines, Nicaragua, Pakistan, Ghana, Bolivia, Vietnam, and you just heard about Sierra Leone and Kenya. Our research team, MCorp, has also been working hard with you. We want to create a database where we can track these devices. What if you get a pre-certified, previously owned pacemaker in Kenya and it gets recalled? We have to know so that we can get you another device that would work for you. We've obviously worked with legal experts, ethical experts, infectious disease, engineers, etc., as Tom outlined. It's amazing we've come this far. I'm so thankful to George Sampson for your heart and your arms to welcome us here. And of course, I'm thankful for this entire team who've made this recycling center an idea that we can do here. Mahatma Gandhi said the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. For me at least, this project, imagining a person dropping dead today in some far place, just begging for us to reach them, compels me every day. 9 years is a long time, but our momentum is tremendous. So we've received a number of grants from important places like the Cardiovascular Center at Michigan in the beginning. You can't do things without resources, you know that. Now we're blessed to have a myriad of human resources, but financial support is also critical to this kind of thing. And today we honor Sheldon and Marion Davis. This couple has been with us from the very beginning, steadfast on our team, giving us vision and helping us achieve this wonderful day today. I want you to imagine just for a second, final reflection. There's a bucket of used pacemakers sitting in a crematory somewhere in the United States or Europe. These devices make a little beep sometimes because the wire isn't hooked up properly. I like to think that maybe they're making a little beep, looking for a home. Imagine a second thought. You're in a low-income hospital in Africa. You're in a clinic. silent, waiting, hoping for a voice, a promise, a solution. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. One country's waste is another country's treasure. So here now today, we commit to bridging that gap with the hope of relieving human suffering around the world. It is my fervent belief that together we're bringing pacemaker recycling into the light of the world, and that this moment will be defining in making this a global reality. Nobel Peace Prize winning physician Albert Schweitzer said this: "I don't know what your destiny will be, but one thing I know. The only ones among you who will be truly happy are those who have sought and found a way to serve." Ladies and gentlemen, this is our time to serve. It is with the greatest joy for me to stand today and celebrate with you this remarkable facility, this amazing team, and this amazing couple, Sheldon and Marion Davis. I honor you. I adore you. This is your day. This is a place of hope that will start a fire throughout the world. Thank you. Marion, you're unveiling. Oh, look at this. That's beautiful.
You want to read that?
When you enter this space, you're committing to a bold dream. That is to provide life-saving heart rhythm therapies to the poorest of the poor in all parts of the world. You are literally holding their hearts in your hands. Each device, successfully delivered and implanted, is life-saving. Angels of mercy work here. You are one of them.